Hello, trading is closed on April 23rd, 2019. Wow, what a rally. Let's go over our calls. We said there were conflicting signals, so the commonest thing would be a gap and a prompt move outside the day's range. We got that. We had a target of 2,986. I actually made a mistake. I said the target was required. It should have been optional. I had an ultimate sell signal getting just the minimum. Almost always we get more, so that's why it was optional. And I had a straight sell because I misread the numbers on one of the bars, and that was just my mistake. But whether it's optional or required, gapping smartly in the opposite direction and taking out the high kills the call before the open anyway. So the call was a mistake to call it required. It was not. If I had said optional, it would have been right, but the call was dead before the open anyway. We looked for a pattern with the early high and the late high. Got that. Said it tended to lead to an all-day rally, and if it failed, well, it didn't fail, so it's irrelevant. And we had an old target from October 3rd, the last higher unsatisfied target of 29.36.34. That came within 3 cents of the high. If this holds, we don't really have to see this anymore, but we almost always do. This is a direct hit. If this holds, we won't know that until it's too late to take advantage of it. If this holds, it can lead to pretty strong moves in the other direction. But of course, by the time that happens, it's too late. Now, it's not good when you rally all day long. Can't take out any of these highs. It isn't good when this pattern doesn't close at the high. But all that's invalidated if we gap and take this high out promptly tomorrow. So this is a pretty strong move. We're not going to deny that. It came through a lot of resistance areas. And all we need to do for confirmation is to take out this high early. If we gap down, if we don't trade over today's close throughout the day, this break of resistance does not count. Well, here was my mistake. That's why I put it in green. I'm going to erase that as soon as I can. Today we got an ultimate sell signal here when the market's rallying. That worked, but MEJT said it was false and we trade over this line, which we did. So you can see we're at a MEJT resistance level. Doesn't mean resistance holds. This move invalidates the Demark 913.9 sequential sell, and usually when these things fail, they fail in grand style. So if you believe this stuff, after all the failures it's had, it would call for a pretty good rally from this point. The catch, once again, is you have to go past today's close by 1 cent. If we gap down and never fill the gap, this break does not count. It's called the Demark or TD critical qualifier. Now, this was the pattern we had. We had this rising wedge. Maybe it's an ending diagonal triangle. We're almost at the apex. If your triangle is going to break and it means something, you want it to break around 2/3 of the way along. If it goes all the way to the apex, it just doesn't mean that much. You don't get the kind of moves you get when a triangle breaks. Here's the pattern we have. You've been trying to look for the end of this rally for a long time, and it just hasn't happened. This has been one of the strongest, most surprising rallies I've seen. Usually when this high overtakes this high, it implies this high is going to fall. And at this point, that wouldn't surprise me at all. But I take things one day at a time, and that isn't a call one way or the other for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, we have a pattern which is negative unless we take this high out early, and that wouldn't surprise me. If we can't trade over today's close, it's negative, but there have been any number of resistance areas that this market's blasted through. And even though if we do reverse from here, I can make it fit, it's just not my favorite candidate. And even if we do trade lower, this isn't my favorite place for a top. Of course, that means it might be one, but I've had other numbers which made much more sense than this one. But if it works, it was called back in October. That's today's call.